everyone. This is Chala, CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert. Welcome to my Tuesday Tea Time with Chala. We are talking today about how to lose a sale with poise. And I read an article that started this thought for today's topic and my weekly blog. And it was about how Trump lost and the grace of losing and poise in losing and how to behave in losing. And it, of course, I always talk about and think about sales and marketing. So that's what I thought about, is to talk about this whole idea of losing a sale with poise. Now, the statistic is, this is by HubSpot, which is a marketing company. Average closing rate for all industries is 19%, you guys. That means that almost 8 out of every 10 times you ask for the sale, you get a no, which means every time somebody asks you, how much is it? 8 people out of 10 people who ask you how much is it end up saying no. That is an all industry average. Some industries are much higher, some price ranges are much higher. So that's why you need to learn how to get a no with poise. And I wanted to talk about this. And luckily, I've been getting a lot of yeses, but I've gotten my share of no's because I am certainly not the cheapest at what I do in my industry, nor do I work with people who are the cheapest at what they do. That's why I hear no quite often. So I've used a lot of coaches and I've learned from a lot of coaches to learn the whole art of hearing no, processing no, and working with the no, and then letting that, percolate and motivate me into the next yes. So let me just tell you some of the steps that I have figured out and that I've learned on how to get a no with poise in a sale. So the first thing I want to tell you is do it fast. So, and here's the reason why. Because if you've got the right person that you're selling to and it's the right time for them, and it may not be, it might be the right person but the wrong time, it might be the wrong person and the right time, it's all got to line up. So you've got to have the right person, the right time, and it's got to be the right solution for them. Because when you talk to them and it turns out that they have a completely different issue, and it's an issue that you can't really help them with, then that's not really a good fit either. And then once you figure out that those things exist and you're still getting a no, do not linger. Do not let the prospect say, oh, I'll get back to you in 3 months. I mean, that's a completely different thing. But in the moment, if there's a need in that moment, if they're the right person, the right time, and they're deferring you because it's a really soft no, take that as the soft no that it is. Get them to acknowledge that it is a soft no, that not now, not yet, is still a no. It's no for today. It's maybe not no forever, but it's a no. So the first thing that I want to tell you is do it fast. Don't in your mind linger that this is a yes, it's going to turn into a yes. Yes, great, that it could one day, but for today it's a no. And get the person to acknowledge that as well, because sometimes in their own head they don't know that it's a no and they're still processing it. And you are not able to talk about their objections. You're not able to talk about their fears if you can't talk openly about the fact that they are giving you a no, right? Because it's really hard to say no to people. So, and the second thing that I learned is make them feel good. If this is a true no and all the other conditions existed, that you had the right solution, the right person, the right timing, and the right problem to help, and they still said no, it really, behooves you, and it helps you and it helps them to make them feel good. And how do you make them feel good? Is you empathize with them. You empathize with why they said no, because maybe they're just not ready, or they're in fear, or whatever it is. But the one thing that I learned, and this was a really hard lesson for me, and I learned this from one of my mentors, his name was David Nagel, is don't push or try to convince anyone. And this is what I tell my clients now. If it's a no, you don't push, you don't convince. In fact, in my sales teaching, in my sales process, I don't even ask for the sale. We simply tell them, is it okay if I tell you how I think I can help in this situation? And then we take them through the steps of how we've helped other people in that same situation. And then we simply ask, do you have any questions? And if there's no questions around working together or how much it is, then we may throw in, I'm really curious about the fact that you said that, you would go bankrupt if you don't have this marketing help, and that you don't have any questions about how much it costs for this help, and you think it really would help. I can't help but feel a disconnect. What's that about? Like, if you there, that's fine, but that's something that I do ask. And if they, are still unwilling to talk about it, then it's a no. You have to make them feel good, and you have to empathize with them, because at one point that was you. And it doesn't mean that they're not going to come back to you. But what I have learned for sure is that when you push or try to convince people, it pushes them away further, and it pushes them forever. And one of my other mentors, Chris Kenny, had said that there is a very strong energy behind a no. So, let time elapse before you go back at them. But in that moment, you have to make them feel good. At least that's how I do it, and that's how I feel. And so the third step of losing the sale with poise, is leave the door open. That kind of leads from the doing it quickly, empathize with them, make them feel good, and then leave the door open, set the stage for the next interaction. There's a famous saying in sales that you're supposed to get, and I tell this to my clients, never leave a meeting without a meeting. So you could always, I leave this open-ended, and sometimes people say, yeah, sure, call me in 3 months, call me in 6 months, whatever it is. But I write that down, and I say, okay, I'm making a note here. I'm going to ping you back on March, if it's, like 3 months later. So, and then, also leave the door open, because ask for referrals in terms of, now, I know you're not in, the market for this right now, but do you know anybody, 2 or 3 people, 1 or 2 people who you think have the same problem that you do, that I can help? And sometimes they feel grateful enough for the interaction, and they see enough value, and or they feel bad enough about the no, that they do want to connect you to someone. So always leave the door open for the next communication with them, and for a referral for someone to connect them, for them to connect you with someone in their network. Okay. And then, of course, the last one is there's huge statistics around people who don't follow up. I'm going to take a sip. Follow up is like some sort of dirty word in sales, because nobody's doing it. So if you actually go ahead and put it in your calendar, and put it in your CRM funnels, whatever, even if you just put yourself just a sticky note with a date to follow up when you said you would follow up, and even before the follow-up date, that you continually engage with them through low-level means, which is follow up gently, then you stay in their radar. Most of my sales in COVID came from people that had seen me speak on stages. They had said no to me several times, and they bought during COVID because they needed more marketing. They saw the value of marketing, and they were mostly in a situation of pivot, or a situation where they needed to be more visible. But so make no mistake that the reason why they said yes is because I kept communicating with them. So I followed up with them gently. Now, what are some of the ways that you can follow up gently? There's a coach, and I don't remember her name. I think it was Kim Duke. She used to call it "Get Them on Your Marketing Train," or it was Sam Horn. I've named just about every coach that I've ever had. So if you're taking notes, go and work with them. They're amazing. But this little blonde head is the culmination of every successful coach that I've ever worked with, plus all of my 25 years of working experience and all those wonderful things. So when I say follow up gently, I mean make sure that they become part of your ecosystem. So some of the things that you can do, some of the things that I do, is put them on your newsletter. Of course, ask for their permission. So get their permission, put them on your newsletter, and then send newsletters on a regular basis, for the love of God, right? Content is so easy. What I do to create this live that you're seeing, then this gets repurposed into an article in the same week, because it's the topic. And then once I find the topic, and usually I go on either Medium in their marketing stream, or I go on feedly.com, which feeds me all these different publications and all the different writers and the topics that are happening today, right now, this week, around business growth, small business growth, and marketing. So then I take one of those articles and I think about how any of those would fit, and then I put my own spin on it, and then I have my own say. So this article that I had seen, as I said, was about how ungracious Trump was in losing, and how, he didn't make himself look good while he was leaving. And so this is where this topic of how to lose a sale with poise, how to lose anything with poise, but how to lose a sale with poise. Other things you can do to follow up gently are DMs, like your social media. When my social media team, the social sellers, took over my entire inbox, and I'm talking about my social media inbox, so my Facebook, my Instagram, and my LinkedIn, most of my LinkedIn, they were the ones that were sending all these people who were either had said no to me, they'd connected with me in some way, they had talked to me. They were invited to all the new stuff that I was doing in 2020. I was extremely active. I did like 5, 6 launches of different stuff, of different sizes, different lengths, and they were invited to all of them. I had a live networking, as you guys know, up till 2 weeks ago, live Zoom networking. So we would invite them to that. We still invite them to podcasts. We still invite them to all the things that I'm doing, like this live stream into the private Facebook group and so on. And this gets repurposed. So we continue the conversation with these prospects who said no, gently, through the direct mail DMs in the social media. Next is networking. Of course, if you have a very tight, super niche, you know exactly which industry that you're targeting. So you go out and you hang out with them anyway. So you go out and you hang out with their networking. You go out and you hang out in their industry events, in their association, in their organization networking, whatever it is. So that's where another way that you can prod them. So I'll give you an example. When I spoke at the stages at the Women's Business Enterprise National Council, the WeBank, I then would teach in their online forums. I would teach in their programs that they had to the same women, and these women would have seen me years ago speaking on the stage. Now I'm speaking on the virtual stage, and some of those people became my clients. Some of those people bought multiple times from me. So that's how you gently continue the conversation. Projects and new launches, as I said, they're just excuses to invite all these people who already said no to you to come back and check out what you're doing. Because again, remember, I have a lot of people who say no to me because of my rates, and they're high, and also because of the whole, 19% is the average close rate for all industries. So I have a lot of people in my network, in my funnel, who continue to show up over and over and over again. And remember, the marketing rule of thumb is 7 to 12 touches. Once you've touched them 7 to 12 times through your different, newsletters, networking, teaching, blogging, new projects, new launches, after that they could buy, potentially. And a lot of people have. And the other thing is you can ask for their help. So it could be for something nonprofit, it could be something unrelated to business. And of course, don't ever forget the value of sending them prospects, so connecting them. One of the things that I do with my podcast guests, and I just finished recording with a new podcast guest, is who are 2 or 3 people that I can connect you to? What industries are they in? What problems do they have? And what are the triggers for what they're looking for that I can connect you to? And in fact, today I connected to people that I met. So I'm actively using my networks to connect people. Whether it goes anywhere or not, that is not the issue. The issue is nobody's doing this really for people without something in return or some expectation. And if you do that without really any direct expectation, and they see that from you, there's always going to be goodwill towards you, and this will be a way that you can follow up gently. So to recap, here are the ways how to lose a sale with poise: is do it fast, make sure you know clearly that both of you know that this is a no, it's a no for now, and why it's a no, and how you can revisit it. Make them feel good about it. Don't push them, don't coerce them, don't make them feel horrible about it. I've done that in the past. I did not know any better. but it always backfired, and it always led to much worse things than a lost sale. So lose gracefully and empathize and don't push. Leave the door open. Ask them if somebody else, it's a no for them, but if somebody else in their case or in their position could be helped using your services, and also set the stage for the next interaction, and follow up gently by putting them on your marketing train and communicating them with them throughout years and whatever number of interactions that you can arrange with your visibility and marketing. So that's all for today, you guys. I am busy at work with my team, social selling team on LinkedIn, so you may hear from me. We're going to do probably another launch in another month, but I'm not ready yet because we're having so much fun just reaching out to people. And I've really given steam to my podcast. So I've got a new team of social sellers to get podcast guests. So don't be surprised if you're approached to be a guest. And if you want to just apply, just reach out to me here in the comments, or you know how to find me. So I love doing these with you. Take your tea and watch this again if you need to learn how to lose with grace, how to lose a sale with grace. All the best, you guys. Have a great night. Bye-bye.